first things first, we're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Charles Davis. Good morning,
Dave,
Charles.
new appearance in studio
Thank
with us.
you.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see you,
having me.
Charles.
It's great to be
One of
here.
the best in the business.
Absolutely.
Now, if Mike Mayock is able to get with the Raiders, the next guy to get scooped up somewhere is my man.
We can't lose him, man.
Listen.
Okay. I agree.
We can go over the place. I'm just telling you, he knows that much about football. He has that type of background, everything.
No, I agree. And if that
player.
happens, I'll be your captain.
No,
For
real.
Kind of you to say.
Now that we've got you employed somewhere else, we haven't even
let's get another job.
Remember
yet.
Stock? Chris, don't say that. Oh, I'm sorry.
But they say the more you can do, right?
Let's talk some Packers, Charles. They improved to 4-1 yesterday with a big win over the Cowboys. It was the tale of the Aarons. Aaron Rodgers was good. Aaron Jones was great. Led the way with 4 touchdowns. Green Bay didn't need much from Rodgers to pick up his 7th career win over Dallas. Packers now sit in first place in the NFC North. Here's Aaron Rodgers after the game.
I just think we're just a more connected team this year. We're enjoying each other more. We like each other, I think, a little more. We hang out with each other. It's the locker room is a raucous environment. Whether it's a Monday or whether it's right after a big win, I just think guys really play for each other more, and we have that chemistry that. Because of the leadership that we have, that maybe we've been lacking the last couple of years.
Aaron Rodgers says they like each other more, they play for each other more, they have better chemistry than they've had the last couple of years. What do you make of what Aaron Rodgers had to say?
Well, everyone has better chemistry when they're 4-1. I mean, that helps a lot. I think what got me was when he said the leadership that we've been lacking the last couple of years. So you know how they downplayed that all last year. Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers, I didn't do it, I didn't do this. Right. Mike and I are fine, so on and so forth. That is as telling as there's been. I mean, that was the big reveal. Finally puts it out there and says, that's not what we were looking for, not what we expected. I noticed earlier this year, and it may be a little thing, and Chris, you know it as a player, during timeouts, down the stretch, Aaron was never going to the sidelines. He would stay out in the field. And I kept saying, that's a little odd. Most quarterbacks go to the sidelines, especially since your head coach is your play caller.
You're talking about last year.
Last year. This year, I see him going to the sidelines. It's a different deal. And everybody wanted to say, oh, Aaron, is he going to get along Matt LaFleur? Is he going to run to Matt LaFleur? He goes to the sideline, so at least the appearance off the top is he's trying to make this thing work.
Yeah, even some of the conversations, I know that what the camera sees when you're on the sideline, I've enjoyed the exchange.
Yes.
Because it's going both ways. Like, I don't mind some guy being animated, but I don't want a guy being animated and the other guy kind of absorbing all that. So I believe that Matt LaFleur, I met with Matt last year, and I thought he was going to be excellent. And I thought this game was going to be his toughest game in a very, very brief NFL career, because you don't have one of the best receivers in Devontae Adams. You don't have a running game. Your running back, Williams, you've been splitting carries with. He's out of the game. So what are they going to do? We know one of the offensive linemen's banged up. So I thought the game plan that him and Aaron came up with, because every play caller is coming up with the game plan with their starting quarterback. And with Aaron Rodgers, with all his experience, I just like the fact that Aaron Rodgers has a defense and has a running game. And I was concerned about those things, because when he had a defense, that's when he won the Super Bowl. And they have not supported him with a running game. It's go make a few plays at the end of the game. So for me, they've been the most impressive team through 5 games. If you look at the schedule, who they faced, the rushers that they've gone against, the totality of it, this Green Bay Packers is for real. And I know the people said, oh, man, Nick Wright picked them. Nick's not always crazy about it. Nick was on Green Bay. He was on Buffalo before we started the season. This Green Bay team is one of the better Green Bay's team we've seen in recent years.
And the schedule matters. Going to Chicago, going to Dallas, beating Minnesota at home matters. They were in that game with Philadelphia. Their only hiccup so far this season, 6 plays inside the 3-yard line, come away with 0 points. Otherwise, Devontae Adams gets hurt before those plays. Otherwise, maybe they're 5-0, but they would take 4-1 given this schedule every day of the week. Now, on Rodgers' comments, I agree with you 1,000%. There are only 2 people in the world that were claiming Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy were all good. Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. And now Aaron Rodgers seems to no longer be telling that lie.
And another tale with Mike McCarthy, the reason why you know they didn't have a good relationship, if they do, he's the first guy hired in this new hiring cycle.
Yeah, maybe.
This guy goes unhired with all the experience. I'm telling you, we were taking some chances.
And a relationship with Dorsey, too, in Cleveland, and still didn't get hired.
Yeah, so that right there was telling behind the scenes.
Well, of course, we also, this hiring cycle became, the kiddie core. And if you knew Sean McVay, you had a heck of a shot.
Right, if you drove him on a school bus to school with him.
And obviously what Arizona decided to do is they went all in with something different because they went Cliff Kingsbury, and it was almost, to me, a baseball model. Now we talk about the baseball manager's been devalued a little bit. Analytics are driving things. They decided, okay, we're going to go air raid offense, and we'll work around the rest of it, and they went with Kyler Murray. Now, they're getting better. Now, we'll get to them at some other point. But the last thing with Green Bay, they didn't get their run defense tested this week because they jumped out to the big lead. You remember that's where they got jumped on before. So they didn't have to get tested on that. Zeke couldn't become a factor. And the second part is when Aaron Rodgers is throwing in rhythm and on time, they are a much better offense. I thought the same thing under Mike McCarthy. He is not going back now. Chris, you alluded to it before. And the first move is I'm going to my second reaction right away. He's going back, letting the play develop. He's going second reaction later. Their offense is better for that.
Well, and one of the reasons that I thought the Packers could win, but I thought this was 21-20. I thought it was 20-17. I thought it'd be a low-scoring, grinded-out game because I thought Dallas would struggle with no Tyron Smith, and then they'll lose Lyle Collins. And I thought the Packers would struggle because who's Aaron Rodgers going to throw to? There's no receiver he trusts on that roster other than Davante Adams. Well, yesterday, there was no receiver he trusted. 5 catches for 78 yards by receivers. What I didn't anticipate was Aaron Jones popping the way he did.
Yes.
He had the best game
They got back to that.
Right.
Because you remember last year when he came back from the suspension and he got the ball, that offense took off and was better. He's explosive. I mean, this guy's explosive as all get out. He's not Dalvin Cook explosive because I saw that yesterday. That's a whole different world now. But he's awfully explosive, and he can catch the football, and he helped open up things where, to your point, because remember the receivers only caught 5 of their own. He, as a running back, caught 7. Whole different deal.
So why have they had so much trouble with the run game then the first couple weeks of the season?
Well, against Minnesota, they were quite good, 23 for $116. I think a lot of this is situational. So you look at week 1. You're playing a Chicago team that prior to yesterday had as dominant a defense as anyone in football. Week 2, they have success against Minnesota in running the football. Week 3 against a Denver team, that Denver team at that point had no pass rush. I don't know why they didn't have a pass rush, but they had 0 sacks on the season. So I think a lot of it was situational, and I think Dallas defensively, I don't know that we know they are built to consistently stop the run. They got great edge guys. Quinn's been very good for them. DeMarcus Lawrence been very good for them. And their linebackers, I heard Troy saying a lot yesterday, you don't see Leighton Vander Esch miss that play. Seemed like Leighton Vander Esch was missing a lot of plays he didn't typically miss.
He doesn't usually do that. Neither is Jalen Smith. Those two are great downhill backers. The thing that would concern me if I'm Dallas is I expect Malik Collins to be very strong and stout inside. Heavy-handed player, but Antoine Woods got hurt earlier this year. Hasn't quite been the same. So if those two guys inside make it tougher, because then it takes away from what Tank Lawrence wants to do coming off the edge.
I think the hardest thing to develop in this modern NFL is a running game. We don't have enough practice time. You can't be in pads enough. And there's so many coaches that are trying to impress people with throwing the football that how many carries can he get? Aaron Jones, how many carries are they going to give him behind that offensive line?
That's how you get a job, right, Chris? If you're a coach, how do you get a job?
Everyone is out there trying to interview. So for me, with Green Bay, yes, they had a running game yesterday. But to me, I ain't all the way fully believing that that's what they'll do week in and week out.
And so many young quarterbacks can sling the ball.
And last thing, don't forget what you're getting out of the college game now.
Right.
That is not the same type of running game and not the same type of lineman that's being built in the college game that you're looking for in the pros.
All right, we got to take a break. Charles, stick around.